Summer routines live or die by how easy they are. And honestly, if something takes too much effort, I'm out. That's why Groons is my go-to. It's my one daily pack of gummies covering my greens, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, it has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is more than 2 cups of broccoli. No mixing powders, no giant pills, no hassle. I just rip open the pack and I'm done. They taste good and they make it easy to stay on top of my health, even when life gets busy. Save up to 52% with the code PODCAST at Groons.co. That's code PODCAST at GRUNS.co.
Hi, everybody. This is Dawn Mitchell, and welcome again to Dawn of Sports. I know we've talked a lot of hockey in the past couple of weeks, but now, if you're not on board with Timberwolves and some of the basketball going on in this town, you should. So we are going to be welcoming back in our good friend Lea B. Olsen to talk some good hoops coming up.
That's right. Lea B. Olsen is contributor to TalkNorth.com, among the many other things she does around town. You should know her by now, former Gopher athlete, MC, public speaker, works on Timberwolves and Lynx broadcasts, one of the best basketball people in town. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio. Best way to listen to this show or any of our many shows at TalkNorth.com. Please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. We do appreciate it. We're sponsored by Lexus of Wayzata and Maplewood and Minnesota Masonic Charities. Back to Dawn.
Well, thank you so much, Jim. So, Lea, first of all, welcome back. Kind of like the craziness of the holidays, everything that's happening in Minneapolis. We're just saying that sometimes just talking about sports is a nice needed break for everyone. So welcome back. And hopefully we can find our little oasis right now here today and talk some hoops with you. How are you?
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me on again. Great to be with you too. And I couldn't agree more. Lots of difficult and stressful things happening in our community. So when we do get a chance to step away and just talk hoops, life is good.
And I can't think of a better time for the Timberwolves to have such an incredible game over the Spurs Sunday night. It's almost like the whole city, especially of Minneapolis, the whole Twin Cities, it kind of radiate out. They needed that little sense of joy, sparked, of course, by Anthony Edwards. You did the post-game interview, and if anyone doesn't really know, they beat the Spurs by 1 point. Anthony Edwards, of course, with the go-ahead runner with 16.8. I think that's the specific time. That's embedded in my brain. I just love it when games come down to the wire. But Lea, you were on the court with him after, and that place was electric, chanting MVP. You could just see the joy on his face. Tell us, can you bring us back to that moment? Because I know you're working it, but you've got to just be
Sure.
kind of like feeling all those vibes, as they say.
Well, it was an amazing moment. And I will say this, anytime you get the opportunity to interview Anthony Edwards, it's going to be good. He's always joyful. He's always got a big old smile on his face. He gives you unique and individual answers that are just uniquely his answers, which is just so fun. And so, so at the moment, I knew it was going to be a great interview. He went up against Wembanyama for that last shot, and it was just so great to watch him kind of maneuver because the players had all been pretty reticent going up against Wemby. I mean, it's just wild how tall that guy is and how difficult it is to score over him. And so it was clearly a big moment for him. And you could see when he was kind of making his decisive move to the basket that he was thinking it out a little bit more than usual. But he knocked it down, and then we met on center court. And just as I start interviewing him, the fans are all still going crazy, and then they start yelling MVP, MVP. So I kind of just pulled back and stopped the interview and just kind of let the crowd have at it. And Ant just had a big smile on his face, and he just looked at everyone. He just loves those moments. And so it just was a huge win. I would probably say the biggest win for the Timberwolves this season.
No doubt about it. And it is fascinating, Lee. I'm sure you hear the same things I hear. Listen, this team got off to a little bit slow start, but anytime they lose a game, it feels like this fan base overreacts and just fails to realize that everybody loses bad games, right? I mean, the Wolves now have the best record. We're talking here on Monday afternoon. The Wolves have the best record in the NBA since Thanksgiving. So yeah, every once in a while, one's going to slip. But this team has been very good against good teams. They win at about the same rate as everybody else against lesser teams. I mean, Oklahoma City went 2-4 during a stretch in December and just got destroyed by Charlotte on their home court by 30 points or something. Bad losses are going to happen every once in a while, but you got to see the big picture. This team's playing really well, especially considering their current lack of depth.
And it is nerve-wracking because the way the season started for this team, I think everyone thought they were going to get off to a super quick start. And they didn't. They had some missteps, and they won some, and they'd lose a couple and then win some. And so I felt like everyone got nervous real quickly. And but yeah, they did exactly the reverse of what they did last year. They were beating the teams that they should have at the start of the season. And that was a huge issue last year, where they were losing to bad teams all of the time. And also, I'll just say this, working in the NBA for as long as I have, once you get around the holidays, there's like a 2-week span in the holidays. That's usually a grind for every team. And the Wolves have really struggled in that time frame. And I'm sure most teams do. There's just a lot going on, and you throw in the holidays. A lot of these guys are young dads. There's just a lot. And so as soon as we pushed out of that and got into the new year, I mean, they're just playing completely different. But, I thought Naz Reid kind of said it really well after the game last night. He was like, we really believe in how talented we are, and we don't think we can be beat. And like I wasn't really hearing that at the start of the season. So I think they kind of get now, like, this is a really talented club. And so they're rolling and they're just playing, but you're right. It's 82 games. You're going to stumble. You're going to have some bad losses. The loss to Atlanta was a bad one, and the loss to the Nets was a really bad one, but it's almost like you need those to kind of get you going again. So yeah, I'll be curious to see. Now they're headed off on the road for a while. So this will be, these are some big games for them coming up.
You mentioned just how unique Ant is with his answers. Like, he's just authentic, and what I love is not only does he drink in the moment, because he also allows the crowd to give him that love, just like he did in the interview. But later on in the locker room, and you mentioned going up against Wemby, he again was authentic, talking about, he's like, do you see how tall that guy is? Like, and how good on defense he is? He goes, if I went up to shoot it and take a shot, he would have blocked me. He would have. Do you see that guy? So the fact that you said, like, he had to think about it, how to go around him, how to approach it. I just love that. That's how he talks in the post game too, and the fact that he's been himself now for a few years, because you always see maybe a player will be that at first, and then they change once they get to be superstar.
So true.
Or they don't talk at all until they feel like they're a superstar, and then they do. But Ant has been Ant this entire time. And so just as a journalist, we love that, because we don't want that glazed over, rehearsed answer. But when he's using it, talking about another player and giving him his respect, basically saying, have you seen this guy? He's amazing. I think that that kind of permeates throughout the locker room, don't you? I mean, that they can give the respect and be honest, that kind of thing.
That's usually, and you're right, a lot of players are a little bit reticent to speak about other players. Ant's usually very open about that. He's usually very positive when he talks about other players, but it was clear in that game that in the first half, I mean, the Wolves were down by like 19 points. So it was clear that they were all hesitant to go inside because of the length. And it is wild. Like, I mean, because we're just kind of used to Rudy Gobert and how tall he is, but it's like, Wembanyama has like 6 or 7 inches on him. So it's just kind of disconcerting. And so everyone was hesitant, and you really could see it in their play. And then I think in the second half, they just kind of decided, we just have to start attacking here. And they kind of figured out ways to pull him out and to be more aggressive on him. And it was really Julius Randle who decided to get really physical with Wemby. And Wemby really can't take that yet. I mean, he's just so long and lean. And that's kind of what turned the corner for the Wolves.
No doubt. Let's get to Gopher women basketball next year. I do want to thank our sponsors, starting with Lexus of Wayzata and Maplewood. Thanks also to Minnesota Masonic Charities.
Today, I want to talk a little bit about the Minnesota Masonic Charities. When you think about the Masons, I get it. You think about the funny hats, those pancake breakfasts, which are phenomenal. My dear friend John Schweitz and I have chatted about this, and it's so much more than that. They've got the Masonic home over in Bloomington. They've got the hospital for the children over at the U of M. They are the largest fraternal organization in terms of charitable needs in our country, and they deserve a ton of recognition. So thank you, Minnesota Masonic Charities, for all you do and for supporting us over here at Talk North, and a special thanks to my good friend, John Schweitz.
And a reminder, we're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio. So Gopher women basketball hadn't beaten a top 25 team in a long time. They almost got Maryland here early in the year. Very disappointing loss. They looked like they had that game won. What do you think it means for the program to have this breakthrough?
I was super happy for them. They've had two really tight games, as you mentioned, Maryland. They also had a tight loss with Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting a little bit worried, just kind of morale-wise, like they're getting close but not there. So this is a big one, a 1-point victory. Had some really nice, like, defensive plays in this game. In that first quarter, I think they held USC to like 10 points, just really solid defense. And then able to kind of stay with it and not like panic or break down. And so I thought this was a really big one for them. And I thought, Sophie Hart, she had 15 points on the game. I thought she played really well, used her size really well. And so, super fun to see them get that one.
Yeah, I love the defense that you mentioned, because I think Sophie she had like 2 steals in that game. I think Grace had like 3. And then Maura Braun we called her, she was being brawny with those 2 blocks. So their defense has always been a staple of Dawn's style of coaching anyway. But to see them be aggressive and many people, as the kids like to say, eating in that game defensively, right?
Right. And you're very accurate when you say that is the style that Coach Plitzko-White is, getting her team to play. And I think it's just so smart on her part, because once this team is locked down on the defensive end, and when they find that flow offensively, it's not been there every single game, but when it is, they're a really good team. And so, and then the one thing about Coach Plitzko-White's teams is that they tend to get better as the season goes on, which is a compliment to her and her coaching staff. And so I think this win will kind of help get them there, because they'll have the confidence now going, okay, we can do this.
So you mentioned Maura Braun. She's a good all-around player, but of course, we have high expectations for her. I really thought coming into the program, she was going to end up being a dynamic 3-point shooter, a dynamic scorer, one of the better players in the conference. Do you see her being able to get there this year? Do you think she needs another offseason of being healthy to really, get to that level in terms of shooting?
I'll give her the benefit of the doubt that I think the second half of her season will look a lot better than the first half has looked, just because she has put the work in. She is a really great athlete, as you said. But I do think that kind of comeback trail and the way that she's been injured, and how long those injuries lasted, have really kind of weighed on her career. And so, I'm hopeful that, like, she might be just getting into kind of rolling in at the best part of her season, right, maybe around the tournament time. But I do think it's definitely taken her a bit to kind of return to norm after her injuries.
What have you loved most about Amaya Battle's kind of maturity? I mean, she was always talented coming in, but she just gets more and more solid with each season under her belt.
The best thing about Amaya is she's reliable, and she sees the court really well, and she's a good distributor.
Yeah.
She struggled to score. She has struggled to score a bit this season, but she is one of those players, boy, like she can hit big shots for you. She can have a high scoring night, but not each and every night.
Right.
But
It's
like,
the consistency, right?
yeah, that consistency piece, but you feel comfortable with her running your offense, not panicking, she's a good playmaker in that sense for sure. And, but like has always been known for being, just one of the great distributors on the team. And I think one of the best in Gopher history. So that's always been her strength.
So let's talk a little bit about a less pleasant subject. I'm really, this is the time of year I start looking forward to Lynx season. I don't know if we're going to have a Lynx season or WNBA season. So, and as we speak, the Unrivaled League is going on. We've also learned that Nafisa Collier is going to be out for quite a while with her ankle surgeries. Kind of start wherever you like. Tell me what's going on in the professional women's world right now.
I think everyone's just genuinely worried. Everyone who I had talked to before, when the negotiations had just started right at the end of the season or even before then, that the two sides would figure it out because they both have a lot to lose if they don't. And so the fact that it's taking so long and that they have locked into this battle over net versus gross money making, this is an age-old battle between ownership and players. And so I'm trying to remain hopeful in it, but I really think it'll be a huge mistake if they end up having to truncate the season because the WNBA season is way too tight as is. And last year, the players really complained about the amount of back-to-backs and the tight schedules and travel and all of those things. So to think what that could look like, if they lost a month or something, just, it's not good news. So, but there is still time. So I am hopeful that they just know that they have to get it done.
Do you think then, I know that Nafisa went from saying, I'm going to kind of tough it through these ankle injuries and I'll be okay 100%. And then next thing you know, she's meeting with doctors in Miami, with the Lynx and all over the place. And they decide to not only do one, but to do both, which I don't know if they do them at the same time. I'm assuming not. I think you do one week and then maybe a couple. I don't know. I don't know how that goes. But do you think, looking at how there's not that much progress going on with the WNBA, that kind of maybe weighed in on her decision? We might be guessing at this point. I don't know if she shared that. I'm wondering if that kind of played a role.
Don't know, and I haven't asked her because I haven't seen her. But I wouldn't, to be on, my guess would be that it is not about that. I'm guessing that she has taken enough time to realize at this point that they're not going to heal without surgery.
Yeah.
Because that was the goal at the end of the season when she, we knew she had the boot on, we knew she had some healing to do. And so I think they must have realized in the last month and a half that, okay, this isn't going to be enough and that you're going to have some surgery, and that this is kind of the timeline that would be sooner rather than later would be best. So super unfortunate for Unrivaled, for Fee, and for the Lynx. Yeah, and I don't know if you do them both at the same time either, and you just sit in a wheelchair and
oh my goodness, how could I know? That sounds like horrible.
Yeah, exactly. I could kind of see wanting to do that and just like, let's just rehab it all at the same time, but that feels like it would be incredibly difficult. So I think on that we'll just have to remain hopeful, but like there are just so many question marks around what this next season will look like, and and what players will play where, and you have two expansion teams and who's going to get taken, all of these different things. And so I think people are getting a little bit anxious for some answers.
What's your level of interest in the Unrivaled League this year? I found it interesting last year. I also went down there and did a story, and it was a cool setup. And of course, I really hope they make it. I think it's great for the women to have an outlet in the United States where they don't have to travel to Russia or some godforsaken place just to make money. But do you feel like it has staying power? Do you think it still has captured people's imaginations this year?
Great question, because I really wondered that for year 2 for them, especially because they brought in a lot more players this year. Last year they kind of had just elite players, and then this year they brought in a few, kind of that next level of player, and without still having kind of those top tiers of the Caitlin Clarks and the Asia Wilsons, et cetera. So I am a little bit curious. I haven't watched a game yet, and that's basically because I have Timberwolves in college and high school basketball I'm trying to watch, so it's just really hard to fit in an unrivaled game. But I will be really curious. I still think it'll be pretty big in year 2, just because they still have the TV contract. People are probably going to still click it on, and then how they've done. I mean, you've been there. So more than I do. I've not been there yet, but like it's a small place, right? So it's going to fill up. Okay.
Yeah, it's really more like a large TV studio than like a full basketball arena. So the fans, there aren't a ton of seats, but the fans are right on top of the court, and it's a fun atmosphere. But yeah, it's not hard to sell out.
Right. So that vibe's going to be there. So, but I am curious, because that conversation has come up in that, Nafisa Collier has talked about in negotiations with the WNBA, that I have run a sustainable organization, or I'm running one. And I think people are kind of going, well, that's kind of, we're waiting to see if it's sustainable. And everyone hopes that it is, because as you said, it's just such a great way for the women to make money in the off season. And in a way that seems like people really enjoy it. I mean, it's a win-win for the athletes. So I'm hopeful that it remains at a high level and that it continues to kind of pique the interest of everybody. But I do think that is still something people are waiting to see.
Well, I can admit I had highlights, I believe, the breeze and the chill on my Saturday night sportscast.
Nice.
Paige Beckers played really well, and she was going up, or did they face the chill or they faced the Phantom? I can't remember which game it was, and I can't believe I even know some of these names already. But
yeah, that's good.
I was hopefully that like Natisha Heidemann, because she was on the other team, that would have been kind of more of a battle, but Natisha didn't really have a good outing, or I think she played 3 minutes. That's it. But Paige got her fills. So in terms of giving the fans what they want, as long as I'm with you, it'll be curious for me to see how this goes. But if you can still keep the Paige Beckers and the other bigger names, getting Nafisa back that people want to see play and enjoy. Like, they look like they were having fun out there. And I think that that's the key as well. Hopefully that they can keep it going. And I was grateful. I was like, we've got to find this and be able to, help them and put the highlights on TV and, learn some of the names. I was still last year trying to figure out what the team's names were,
Because, that's been kind of always one of the things that Coach Reeve has talked a lot about, right? Just the access and getting the stories and getting people to, put it on TV. So that is a huge deal that you're doing that, Don. And it does matter, because sometimes you don't even know that you're interested, and then you see it on the news, and then you might be like, oh, I'll click on that, So
exactly.
It does matter. Yeah.
So what do you think of the women's college basketball season and game this year? I mean, we're kind of past having Paige Beckers or Caitlin Clark to watch. They drew your eye, they drew your attention. What's drawing your attention this year?
The overall level of play. Star players are always going to be, everyone's waiting for Juju and all those things. Everyone is always going to want to watch a star, because as we saw last night with Anthony Edwards, it's fun to watch someone who's elite at what they do. But I also think the level of college basketball right now is pretty high, and there's been some parity and there's been some upsets, and LSU finally got a win, and they had been getting beaten, and, UConn staying at the top. So some of those kind of the teams that are the standard best teams are sitting there, but then you're starting to just see more teams breaking into that lineup, which is just, I think, really good news for women's basketball in general. Overall, the level of play is what's keeping people coming back.
Just for a brief moment, I want to skip over to the Gopher men, and you may not have had time, but what I really enjoy is how Nico, I really don't like the term buying in, when coaches say, I want my guys to buy in. But for lack of a better phrase right now, I see that happening with his players. They love him, and the barn is rocking again. And some names you'd be like, oh, okay, all right. I'm getting to know what kind of player this guy is. I just love how the Gopher men have really they'll be fun to watch this next part of 2026, I think. Surprising some teams as well.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a big fan of the Gopher men. I think Nico's doing a wonderful job. I think Dave Thorson is a great assistant coach for Nico. I thought he was a great assistant coach for Ben Johnson as well. And I'm really, really happy for them, knowing that, like, that's been the biggest thing that everyone has been trying to do over at the University of Minnesota is get the barn rocking again. And to finally see a game over there where people were like running on the court and going crazy, it's a fun vibe. And that's kind of what everyone's searching for. And you don't have to be the best of the best, but you have to give people something to watch. And I think this coaching staff, it is weird though, because like the team is just so different. Like this is just the new college teams, but it's just like so different from last season. So it just takes a minute to get used to like, okay, who's this guy and how does he play? And which again is why I think they will be, and the season and when they get healthy as well, but the season will be so much more interesting towards the end of the season and towards tournament time, as you learn to know who these players are. And as they learn to start playing better basketball with each other.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what he's doing. I mean, it's an all transfer roster basically, and he already has lost 2 starters to injuries. And I didn't think they'd have enough depth even when they're completely healthy. I'm kind of shocked. I'm shocked he's doing this well right now.
Yeah,
it's
and
so
I will say,
watch,
it is really fun to watch, and I think that is the coaching piece of it. And, you can, is it the buy-in or just kind of getting players to understand your system? Because to me, that is the biggest thing for coaches. If you can get everyone on the same page, whatever your system is, getting everyone on the same page with it is such a huge thing. And he clearly has done that. So, so that's another team that I need to get over there and see one of their games in person.
Well, Jim P can get you tickets.
That's right. Doesn't he always have like the greatest seat right there?
Yes,
by the
he
bench?
does. He's always right there. Yes.
Always. And you can't miss him anyway, but he always has the greatest
That's
seat.
right.
That's hilarious.
Yes. Lea, appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much. Again, Lea B. Olsen, contributor to TalkNorth.com on top of all the other things she does. She's very busy. Anything you want to plug today?
I don't think so. I think it's just,
come on. I know you got something
right now. I know. I don't even have like a speaking thing to tell you about, or I'm just going from gym to gym, watching game after game. So that's all I got for you.
That's okay.
I can't believe you have time for high school too. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I did just go to a Providence Academy game to see Madden Greenwake. And she's legit. She's the real deal. I'm excited to see her at Kentucky. That's one of the college teams too, Jim, that you mentioned, like the kind of parity, like they're having a good season right now. She's going to be a really good fit there. I think she'll start in her her freshman season. But it is wild watching her because she is so much more advanced than a lot of high school girls. Yeah, little Beckett is doing really well too. So, but just complete athletes, just so athletic and locked in and real competitors. So, it was kind of fun to see them. They played Rochester Lourdes. So that was my high school sighting of the week.
All right.
Well, try to fit some more basketball into your schedule this year.
Yeah, slacker.
I will do that. I will do that.
Hey, thanks so much, Lea. Dawn, I'll let you sign off for us.
Yeah, Lea, thank you so much, because we needed this break. I love talking some hoops, and I'm so happy that you can actually find time to fit us in. So maybe you'll find a personal break when the season is over. We'll wish you a vacation when hoops is over, but plenty more to come. And thank you so much for joining us, and also throughout the rest of all of the basketball seasons. You're not done with us yet.
Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to our next chat.
Thank you.
What if your home lowered your bills, charged your car, and helped protect the planet without lifting a finger? Every City Ventures home is built with solar, smart thermostats, EV charging readiness, and Energy Star appliances all included standard. It's eco-friendly living without the compromise. Intelligent, integrated, included. Discover California's leader in sustainable new home construction at cityventures.com. That's cityventures.com.